Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hello my friends. Before we get started, I would like to thank you for watching this video. Then after that, I would like to remind you to share this video for those who have no knowledge about it. This is a great chance to learn. Now, we woke up this morning to the end of full news that Twitter stock has plunged 19%. Twitter is claiming that this is due to shutting down fake accounts, but we all know this is BS. I was permanently banned from Twitter last November for hateful and abusive language, and I'm pretty sure that I'm really person. We all know that Twitter has been shadow banning conservatives for ages, and nobody else was even able to prove this.
Their content. It's a lot of bad press if people figure out that you're shadow banning them. It's like unethical in some way.
Trying to downrank it. We're trying to get the shitty people not to go off.
Yeah, they said, oh, this is pro-Trump, I don't want it because, it offends me, this, that. And I say, I ban this whole thing.
Pretty sure every single employee on Twitter hates Trump.
I mean, what else do you people want? Misbah Al-On write an article about it this week, and suddenly the interest in shadow banning conservatives of prominent conservatives is renewed. This is not the original article. Surprise, surprise, they amended it quickly after it was published. And after Trump tweeted about it, leftists have gone into absolute strike to deflect attention from Twitter's failing platforms. Twitter's user numbers slip as it shuts down fake account. Yeah, I'm sure the lack of growth and clear paths against conservatives has nothing to do with it. And this one astonished me even more from the great intellectuals, the New York Times. Germans are getting on Twitter. Is that a good thing? The purpose of the spice, especially being released the same day the Twitter stock tanks, seems to be twofold. One reason is to suggest that there are untapped market in which Twitter still has room to grow. We all know this is nonsense at this point. Everyone that wants a Twitter account already has one. But the author used this as an opportunity to lick Jack Dorsey's balls and /patronize Germans at the same time. This guy is German, and in typical German fashion, seems unable to stop himself from a good early morning flogging. This monarch's like Twitter is the wave of the future, a simple innovation, although he's being somewhat sarcastic. And the real problem with social media is that he uses actor responsibly. He even blamed attention-seeking culture from Donald Trump's election, Brexit, and the rise of nationalism in Germany at the same time. Yeah, surrounding your country to hostile Jews or secular has nothing to do with that one. We are really Twitter and Facebook are dinosaurs. There is no space for free speech or open discourse, not even just for proper-ship hosting anywhere. Twitter and Facebook are rather cute right now because of their behavior during the election and of their censorship of right-learning speech. Abdullah Zyadneh and Zyadneh are sanctionally smug and unlikable. And people are getting sick of censoring themselves, being right censored, and having no information shared indiscriminately with third parties. It's about time that they're stock tank. But I posit that these are just the reasons for the queue to drop share prices. The lack of usage growth is revealing worse problems that suggests to me that conventional media is toast. And Twitter and Facebook will never be able to regain market share that they once had. A big factor here is the perception that Facebook especially is just lame. I never forget when my father presented good on Facebook, and he was like, it's okay, that's strict forking it. Facebook has gone the way of the mainstream media with the average age of its audience, creeping ever closer to an open grave. It is the kiss of death, no pun intended for long-term growth. This is from the Guardian earlier in the year. Is Facebook for old people over 55 flocking as young? It is forecasted that 700,000 UK teenagers and young adults will leave the social media in 2018. This official Facebook is for old people. Teens and young adults are dished to Mark Zuckerberg's social network as popularity among 55 surges. Once your parent can check out all of weekend party photos, same for some unknown reason. that you young folks lose interest in the platform. The grand irony of this is that Facebook and their short-term thinking opening up to newer market of older people, which killed younger and regenerative market, and thus it is potential for long-term growth. That's additionally people of all ages are experiencing social media burnout because of this outrage mob culture. We also, what happened to James Gunn, and now as much as I do not give a shit about this guy because he was part of rousing outrage mobs and encouraged Delora and Graham boycott for her. Online bullying of shaming of teenagers, even though he had dozen and dozen of tweets about diddling little kid. I still think the situation tells us something important about online outrage mobs. Well, most of us are hopefully having made tons of jokes about pedophilia. Everyone has at some point practiced poor internet hygiene and has something that they later regret in social media. These retarded leftists have gone think outrage mobs only go one way, and clearly as has been demonstrated this week. That is not true, of course not. But the culture we're cultivating where all people are subject to losing campaigns and stuff they've said years ago is going to go in one of two directions. One direction is that we continue to fight fire with fire and things completely spiral out of control. The other direction, which I think is more likely and is already manifesting in the user decline, is that people become exhausted for the outrage and no longer care about stuff. Since outrage culture profits of Twitter in particular, that is bad news for business, and it is not just outrage about what people have said. People are getting outrage fatigued just in general. Look at the reaction of comment tapes and they continue to outrage despite the complete absence of evidence regarding Russian collusion. How long can people spin their wheels before they collapse in exhaustion? I think that a lot of people are realizing that this is futile and a massive waste of time and just want to return to normal real world again. I haven't had Facebook in years and I never miss it. And since my job is rooted in social media, I was admittedly a bit panicked when I got banned from Twitter. But it was such a blessing in disguise. And I love much happier existence and not engaging the outrage. So, using social media make us everyone want to cultivate an image that is infinitely superior to the actual life that they are living. And I'm guilty of this too. But the trap here is that everyone engages in it, that widening chasm between your actual life and the life that you perceive others are living creates the feeling of an inadequacy. The truth of the matter is that some Instagram model that you envy, we've become massive layers about who we are. And we've diminished the importance of in-person, human-to-human interaction. This is why social media paradoxically makes us people anti-social and clearly as making people unhappy and dissatisfied with their own lives. I really do believe that this is a large contributing factor to the collapse of Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram, and whatever else, and WhatsApp, and so on. How long will we continue to do something that is making ourselves worse? People are emotionally tapped out under privacy concerns and censorship. We are really the final straw in what was already something of this spiral of the industry. When I got kicked off Twitter, for example, I realized that I was sinking, literally several hours a day into it. So I decided to use that time to water myself, to work out more, but not to reinvest into the other social media platforms, and that includes YouTube. And that is one of the reasons that I do not share much content on YouTube. Isn't that I do not have much time for it? It's just that I produce the amount of content that keeps me far enough away from being too invested, from getting too caught up in outrage, to concerned about what people think about me. and from getting to larger part of my actual IRL identity. I had to reclaim my life and put it back in the real world, or I was never going to be happy, or be good friend, or be good person. And I think that as society we are spending so much time in social media, that many, if not most of us, are in the same danger of neglecting our personal relationship, if we are not doing it already. And to be honest, I think most of us are in the same danger. So this is what I propose. We lean into this social media collapse and we start to try to live our lives back in real world again. I'm really confident that will make us happy. Thanks folks, I will see you.